If I said to you, you could possibly buy yourself 5 to 8 years of not having clinical symptoms that are pretty significant to changing your life and my life as your support, what would you say back to me?
Tell me how.
Yeah, well, you would think that, but when it comes to dementia, everybody's so scared of it. Well, no, that's just normal aging, right? So if I just do my New York Times crossword puzzle, and I go out and do a little bit of walking, and I try not to drink too much, and I try to be a little social, that'll do it, right? And it's like, well, for a lot of us, it won't. It's not, because it's already changing. So I think the reality is we're going to be swept away unless we start recognizing there is dementia in the world. And I might be the one who's starting to show symptoms. So what could we do together that would make this transition less problematic? Because if I'm the one developing the condition, you might be the person who's providing care. And without the right knowledge and skill, your stress level starts to go up. And one of the really strong indicators of a risk pattern for spontaneous dementia, not the genetically pre-programmed type, is distress over periods of your life.
We've all said for a long time, lifestyle choices we make can delay, maybe prevent, slow down the progression of, but now there's actual research that proves it. I mean, that's changed the narrative coming out of a lot of these national Alzheimer's dementia organizations.
You would think. But we still don't want to look and say, so I have some mild cognitive impairment, should I do something about it? Other than, is there a pill I can take?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the evidence there is not strong. What's strong is, let's go back to your lifestyle. And for the kids that are helping you, let's look at their lifestyle while we're at it. Because the sooner we start that lifestyle pattern, it has to be a pattern, it can't be something you do on Mondays, that's where we see the biggest bang for the buck. We know that getting out in nature, spending time with animals, being social, all of those can have impact. Eating well, look at how when we eat. I mean, it does matter. I mean, I'm sorry, but it does matter. So there's no free ride. And I know people are thinking, but George Burns, and it's like, oh yeah, I mean, there's always super agers. There's really lucky people and really genetically gifted people. Are you one of them? I mean, well, maybe so, but maybe not. I'd rather stack the odds in my favor in case I'm not one of them.
Now you read about the fact there's blood tests, there's AI that's figuring this stuff out. But what do you say to somebody? Because you read all the time, well, that's just the normal side of aging. If we start to not be able to get the word, if we can't complete the thought, at what point do we get tested? What do we do?
Well, see, this is where if we had a baseline, then we could say, you are seeing some shifts. Tell me how you're feeling about that first. How are you doing with that? Okay, I feel like crap. And tell me what you're doing every day. Because now I know where there's potential for shift. So you're having trouble with some words. Tell me what you're doing on a daily pattern. What's your sleep pattern? What's your social pattern? How often are you playing games with yourself about, okay, let's name as many animals as you can. Okay, timer, check. And let's play with that. Now I'm going to give you visuals of animals and ask you to do it, to see what happens when we add a visual imagery part. So we quit seeing it as dead ends and we start seeing it as avenues of possibility, because we don't know. We truly are just on that front edge of what happens if we do intervene in those times. What happens if we do take that chance of like, okay, so you're having some language things. Are they mostly nouns or verbs? I mean, really getting curious about it instead of being so scared. I can't think of words. And it's like, okay, what kind? Have you ever done a foreign language? Those kinds of questions. How about if we play with this stuff instead of get so worried about it? Turns out the chemistry of your brain just changes just like that. And guess what you can suddenly do that you couldn't do 5 minutes ago? Find those words. Because we are incredibly facile at neuroplasticity, truly. And once we recognize things are changing, instead of getting all gloom and doom on it, say, well, okay, well, let's see what we could do if we play around with it a little bit. Try dancing with a partner and doing a new kind of dance step. Try Tai Chi, and then exercise, and then use your brain. See what happens.